I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. So Hunter Biden is now going on the offensive. He's hired a new law firm, Winston & Strawn, a new lawyer, Abe Lowell, and he's sending letters, a cease and desist letter to Fox and Tucker Carlson, demanding that they retract false and defamatory statements. This, as Fox is approaching their $2 billion defamation lawsuit filed by Dominion in April, which of course we'll be covering here on the MeidasTouch network. And Hunter Biden's lawyer also sent a letter to the Department of Justice, demanding the Department of Justice engage in a criminal investigation of a number of individuals, including John Paul Mac Isaac, a laptop shop owner, a computer repair shop owner, for essentially stealing Hunter Biden's laptop and giving it to the New York Post, as well as a number of individuals who received the laptop, whose hands were on the laptop, who destroyed really any chain of custody on the laptop. And what the letter describes is how these individuals may have engaged in the manipulation of the information, manipulation of the data. And of course, the MAGAs are obsessed with these photographs of Hunter Biden naked and Hunter Biden with women and Hunter Biden doing drugs. And, one of the things that's outlined in this letter, though, is, for example, when the Washington Post was given a copy of the hard drive, one of the things the Washington Post said is the reason that we can't write about it is not that we don't believe this is actually Hunter Biden's laptop. It's just we can't confirm that the contents that are being purportedly said that these are Hunter Biden's photographs, we can't tell where these photographs came from, if they're actually on the laptop, if they were put on the laptop by third parties. And what Hunter Biden's letter by his new lawyer is basically saying is, when John Paul Mac Isaac, the laptop shop owner, essentially stole the laptop from Hunter Biden and turned it over to all of these MAGA extremists and the MAGA Republicans, it's impossible now to say what's actually on there. And it seems to be a lot of things that were actually on there were manipulated to spread disinformation. So let's pull up the letter that Hunter Biden's lawyer sent to the Assistant Attorney General for National Security, Matthew G. Olson. And this is what it says. Dear Assistant Attorney General, we write on behalf of our client, Robert Hunter Biden, to request an investigation into the following individuals for whom there is considerable reason to believe violated federal laws in accessing, copying, manipulating, and or disseminating Biden's personal computer data. The individuals are John Paul Mac Isaac of Delaware, Robert Costello of New York, Giuliani of New York, Steve Bannon of Washington, D.C., Jack Maxey, resident unknown, Garrett Ziegler of Illinois, Yaakov Appelbaum, the founder and CEO of XR Vision based in New York, residents unknown. And then it says, by these individuals' own admission in books, editorials, social media posting, and interviews, through what other news articles have reported, they have engaged in the following. Then it lists each person. I'll just give you a brief summary of each. So John Paul Mac Isaac, who unlawfully accessed Hunter Biden's personal data. Isaac has admitted to gaining access to our client's personal computer data without Biden's consent. He's admitted to copying data without Biden's consent, and he's admitted to distributing copies of the data to political enemies of Biden's father without Biden's consent. These unlawful actions cause widespread publication, manipulation, and exploitation of Biden's most personal information. I think the keywords there as well are the manipulation and exploitation of the data. You then go in and it talks about how Isaac bragged about it. Let's go to some of the other people. Look, Robert Costello. In late August of 2020, Isaac sent via FedEx a copy of the hard drive's contents to the home of Robert J. Costello, Rudy Giuliani's attorney. Costello has admitted that he almost immediately accessed the material without permission to do so from the owner of the material. Beyond reviewing financial information or even personal photos and other material about Biden. Mr. Costello even opened files to look at pictures of Beau Biden's final days. You feel like a voyeur, Costello admitted to Giuliani. Then you have Giuliani. Isaac also allegedly shared a copy of a hard drive with Giuliani after a tip from Isaac to one of Giuliani's assistants. Giuliani then distributed a copy to Steve Bannon. On September 28, Steve Bannon claimed he possessed a copy of Biden's computer data. Biden did not consent to Isaac, Giuliani, Costello providing this data to Giuliani. Garrett Ziegler, as stated above, Giuliani, working with his friend and former police chief Bernard Kerik, gave a copy of the hard drive to Garrett Ziegler, a former aide to Trump White House official Peter Navarro. Rather than sending the other copies of the data to additional people, Ziegler uploaded the unverified data he had in his possession to his website, Marco Polo. Jack Maxey, in December 2020, Jack Maxey, an associate of Bannon's, made and stole yet another copy of the data of the hard drive. Yaakov Appelbaum, in his book, Isaac claimed that a man named Yaakov Appelbaum, founder and CEO of Cyber Analytics, who at the time had been working with Senator Ron Johnson's office, came and assisted Mr. Mac Isaac in creating a forensic image of the hard drive. Mr. Appelbaum did so without the consent of the hard drive's owner. B. The government should investigate the manipulation of Biden's data. This is really important. Evaluating the data that Mr. Isaac caused to be sent to the New York Post has been exceedingly difficult because for months, neither the New York Post nor its source for the material, Giuliani, were willing to share their data with the public. More recently, downstream recipients of what has been purported to be Biden's hard drive have reported anomalies in the data, suggesting manipulation of it. For example, the Washington Post received a copy of what was represented to be Biden's data from Republican activist Jack Maxey, who had stolen the data from Steve Bannon. The Washington Post asked a team of forensic experts to analyze the data, and the team concluded that it cannot verify over 99% of it. The drive is a mess, said one of Washington Post analysts, who compared the drive to a crime scene where law enforcement finds the cops before them carelessly left Big Mac wrappers all over the scene, contaminating the evidence. From a forensic standpoint, it is a disaster. So that's one of the examples. Mr. Mac Isaac has admitted the material has been added to the data he initially accessed and copied in 2019. Former Trump administration aide Garrett Ziegler published what he has represented to be a copy of Biden's hard drive that includes, among other files, text message between third parties in which Biden himself is not a party to the communication. The inclusion of other people's communications on what is supposed to be Biden's hard drive raises serious questions about whether third parties added those files to the hard drive. So these are very serious situations where you had an individual steal the hard drive from Hunter and then immediately, criminally, turn it over to Giuliani and Giuliani's associates and Bannon and all of these people. And then when the Washington Post said, hey, can we look at this hard drive? Can we review the contents of it? And they had their forensic team actually take a look at it. Their forensic team of real forensic analysts said, this is a total and complete disaster right here. We can't verify 99% of the contents that this is actually on the hard drive or not. Again, that's not to say the laptop wasn't Hunter's. Hunter's admitting that was a laptop, but the contents look like they are manipulated. So two things I want to say. Number one, I'm glad Hunter Biden's going on the offensive in this situation against these MAGA loser traitors. But number two, and I know I've made about a 9-minute video on this because I do think it's an important development, but I don't really care. When I say I don't really care, at the end of the day, I think it's important that we know the news, but Hunter Biden was not part of the American government. Okay, Hunter Biden doesn't have a position in the Biden administration. Okay. The fact that even if you accept all of the worst accusations against Hunter Biden, which the ones that the MAGA Republicans focus on is naked photos and that he's a drug addict and all of these things, to me, Lots of people in America are drug addicts and suffer from addiction-related issues. And actually, when I early on I was always a supporter of Biden. What actually made me more enthusiastically support Biden and know what type of character President Biden had. I don't know about you. For me, the moment actually was when I heard voice messages from President Biden to Hunter saying, "Son, I love you. I'm here for you. Whatever I can do for you." There are so many people out there who suffer from addiction who wish they had a person like that in their life. And someone like President Biden, Vice President Biden before then, Senator Biden before then, someone with that level of being so high profile, may say, "I don't want, get out of here, son, get out of here. I don't want anything to do with you." But President Biden was the opposite. "Let me help you. What can I do?" And again, Hunter wasn't in the administration. I am far more deeply concerned that Jared Kushner was able to avoid bankruptcy by getting billions of dollars from Qatar based on a failed real estate project that he gave. And after Kushner did a trip to the Middle East, and he got personal funding to the tune of billions of dollars funneled in from the Qataris. That concerns me more, where Kushner was actually conducting diplomacy on behalf of the United States. It concerns me more that the individuals who were actually had a blockade on Qatar, who then agreed to remove the blockade, which Kushner then got the money from Qatar. The Saudis and MBS said, "We have Jared Kushner in our pocket," and that the Saudis were given a list, known, an enemies list, based on classified information the United States had of who the enemies were, who assets were that may have interest adverse to the Saudi crown. And Saudi Arabia then executed everybody based on information that Jared Kushner gave to the Saudis, and MBS, the leader of Saudi Arabia, bragged about that publicly. "I got the list from Jared. Jared's in my pocket." Jared was conducting diplomacy, even though Jared couldn't get any type of security clearance at all. He was rejected from his security clearance. I am far more concerned that the Saudis gave Jared Kushner $2 billion as part of a fund that Jared Kushner created as a reward for helping the Saudis. I am way more concerned that that has taken place than Hunter Biden's nude photos and Hunter Biden photos of doing drugs when he was a drug addict. I'm far more concerned about that behavior. I'm far more concerned about Ivanka getting all of her trademarks approved from China than I am about Hunter. I'm far more concerned about Donald Trump's secret bank accounts in China and $15 million business deals while he was president with Chinese business people leading up to his presidency, right around there, but he had the bank account. I'm far more concerned about that than Hunter Biden. I am far more concerned that when the Saudis play golf at one of Donald Trump's golf courses, that Trump goes to the media and says and spreads 9/11 conspiracies on behalf of the Saudis. I'm far more concerned about all of that than I am about Hunter. Nonetheless, because these MAGA extremists spread all this disinformation, I think it is important that we mention this, that we talk about this news. But I think we have to frame it within the context that I just did. It isn't a both sides issue at all. There you have it. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to your support. So please hit subscribe. It's free. It's free to subscribe. I want to hit 1 million on this channel before April. You think we can do it? Hit subscribe. Also, while we're at it, check out patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. You will love the exclusive content we have on Patreon, but most importantly, it helps grow this independent platform. Thank you so much. Ben Meiselas. Until next time.
Our blue wall stopped the red wave and election deniers got denied election. That's why we're celebrating with the new Democracy Prevails team. We've got lots of work to do, but we should all be proud that when democracy was tested, democracy prevailed. You've earned this. Don't wait. Get yours right now at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.